Hello summoners, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're going to do top 10 damage output characters in Marvel Contest of Champions. And this is going to be a premiere, so if you're watching it live then do jump in the chat, but otherwise let's start off with this list. So this is definitely going to be one of the hardest lists that I have ever made, because damage could vary a lot depending on from matchup to matchup, from your mastery setup, from the character's signature ability, signature level, your skills. So there are a lot of factors that I considered while making this list. Of course, whenever you make top 10 list and there are no class restrictions or tag restrictions, then there's just so many characters in the game and a lot of them hit really hard. So I am going to miss out on a lot of hard hitting great damage output characters on this list. I would like to give 3 characters an honorable mention, and those are Dr. Doom, Namor and Domino. They will not be on this list, but Dr. Doom, Namor with the SP3, after that you get a huge Fury, and you can have some really good damage output with Dr. Doom. You have the Incinerates with the Dr. Octopus synergy. You can have extended duration on those Incinerates. So overall he is definitely a solid damage character, but if you jump in normal labyrinth fight like Star-Lord, it is doable, but it takes a lot of time. And compared to the 10 characters on this list, I think they have, strictly when we're speaking about damage, then they have superior damage. Same goes for Namor. He relies on SP3 to get really good damage for a short burst of time. Then you have to build up to SP3, do it all over again. It's not too bad in most fights in Act 6 and stuff, and variant level stuff, but they are not great options. Like, they are not the top 10 damage characters, that's what I'm saying, but they are top 15 for sure. They are pretty close to the list, but Domino with the Red Health synergy actually should probably make the list, but it's just like really competitive. The top 10 are really good, so let's just start off with the top 10. So there is only one science character in the top 10, and that is at number 10. It was between Human Torch and She-Hulk. Against Mystic characters, Human Torch has better damage than most characters in the game, but I went with She-Hulk because She-Hulk in longer fights like Labyrinth, Abyss, can get some really crazy damage, can hit the damage cap consistently. She, again, in hands of a skilled player like MSD, she's just insane. It does rely a little bit on RNG, on the AI being aggressive, throwing the specials, but once you build enough Furies, you have a really strong taunt also, which really helps her. And once you build her up, like Fury wise, yes, you can't carry over the Fury in the next fight like Aegon or something with persistent charges, but she is still like really hard hitting character who can do some insane damage, even in Act 6 level stuff. Once you like get her to 6 to 8 Furies, or anything above 10, she can compete with the best of the best when it comes to damage alone. And then we're going to move on to number 9, which is a tie between 2 cosmic characters that I don't have as a 5 stars, and it doesn't look like I'm going to pull them anytime soon, but they are Hyperion and Captain Marvel movie. So Hyperion and Captain Marvel movie are amazing cosmic characters who can do some crazy damage. Hyperion is reliant on the RNG with Furies. Captain Marvel needs a bit of a build up in order to get to 25 charges, I think. Again, I don't have these characters, so I won't talk about them that much, but they have some really solid damage when it comes to most fights. And like Captain Marvel movie on path 9, she builds up her charges really fast, and she's just really insane. If awakened, she's also indestructible. There's a lot of utility and poison immunity and stuff, but like when we talk about damage, these two with the right RNG and stuff can get a lot of stuff down. And then at number 8 we have Aegon, who some of you might have expected to be higher, and of course everyone knows I don't have an Aegon. I don't even have a 4-star one, I think. Let's jump into a 3-star Aegon. So again, he in usual fights is not that good damage wise, but in Act 6 and incursions, I bet he's going to be great for like the Omega Boss Rush coming in. He's great for Labyrinth, Abyss. He can carry over his combo, and he can have guaranteed crits. He can be unblockable, insane utility plus crazy damage, unrivaled, like best character for Abyss and Labyrinth. Some really solid damage output, but the fact that he can't do it in everything, like in shorter matchups and shorter quests, is why he is slightly down on the list. But in the right situation, his damage is just crazy. And number 7 on this list is Colossus. With synergies, especially, he is just insane with Omega Red, Emma Frost, Juggernaut. You can have any other character. A lot of he benefits from a lot of characters, but if he is high signature level, that also benefits him in longer fights like Labyrinth and Abyss. But like he can do some insane damage when you can parry, and even if you can't parry heavy, then also if you have the Omega Red synergy, you get more damage based on number of armor ups, more power gain, like really insane power gain, depending if you have the synergy with Emma Frost. So overall, like without Suicide Masteries, just spam SP2 and it's a really easy fight. He makes again, he is another character like She-Hulk, doesn't carry over his damage from fight to fight like Aegon, but can do some solid damage from this with not that much of a ramp up, like unlike Aegon. And he is again really valuable for Act 6, Alliance Quest, Alliance War. He can take a lot of stuff in this game, just as long as you can parry, or you can use it with synergies, and he's going to be great. And then moving on to number 5, we have another mutant who is Archangel. So as long as you can bleed and poison the opponent, Archangel is going to be insane for this matchup. Basically, like I have taken rank 3 6-star characters in Alliance War with him in 30 seconds, with Stubborn and all the global nodes and stuff, like in Ebb Flow Intercept also. Like today I took a hit monkey on Ebb Flow knockdown in 25 or 35 seconds with this guy, which is insane. So as long as you can bleed and poison, you can put the neurotoxins on against most matchups. Again, there are some like very unique matchups like Cable that you don't want to bleed them, but otherwise he's going to be amazing wherever you can bleed and poison the opponent and put that neurotoxin on. So that is why he is at number 5, and like he has aged incredibly well. He was amazing when he came out, then his value went down at the time Blade came out, because a lot of characters were bleed immune and Alliance War characters were hidden and stuff. But now, like, there is no scenario where you're going into the fight blind. You always will know what you're going to fight, like even in stuff with logged map like Labyrinth Abyss. Because of this amazing community, we get the map soon enough, and you would know who you'd be fighting and stuff. So that is the reason he is at number 5. Then at number 4, we have another mutant, and he is another character I don't have as a 5-star, and it's Omega Red. So with Suicide, again, this is subjective. So if you need to have Suicide Masteries, you don't need to have Suicides for Omega Red to be good, but for him to be a top 5 damage output character, you need Suicide Masteries. You need him at a decent signature level, and then he just melts everything. Like damage wise, again, he's not a character like there are some characters in this list like Aegon. They are good for longer fights. He's good for medium to short fights, like anything basically that is in Labyrinth or Abyss, he's great for that. And like in Alliance War, he is the best Alliance War attacker in my opinion. He was the best Alliance War attacker when we had Flow. Even in Stubborn, I think he retains his title, and I would just love a 5-star one. But with Suicide Masteries, with the Sabertooth synergy, like the damage you can get out of this guy is just crazy. When you can lock all the spores with his heavy attack and stuff, like he has insane utility, and his damage, especially in shorter fights, like fights like Alliance War, Alliance Quest, Act 6.2 variants. Like he just melts everything with Suicide Masteries. Amazing for path clearing, great for a lot of bosses, great counter to a lot of fights, has immunities as well. So that is the reason he is at number 4. Then moving on to our top 3, I have Nick Fury at number 3. There is one condition, like the opponent should not be immune to bleed, and as long as opponent is not bleed immune, then Nick Fury can do some crazy damage in any matchup, right? And he when he goes down to his second, like if he's awakened, he goes down to his life model decoy and he gets a mega fury, and he starts hitting really hard, like other than the bleed also. Medium attacks are 9,000, 10,000 for a 565, and even light attacks are like 5,000, I think. So he is decent, and even without the bleed, but when you add that light attack bleed, then he just becomes really insane and the top 3 damage character in this game, in my opinion. He also needs deep wound mastery ideally. If he like in order to be top 3, he needs to be awakened. He needs he doesn't need Suicide Masteries at all, actually. Suicide Masteries really hurt him because in his second phase, then he's not sustainable, because he starts with 30%, I think, and every time you run Suicides, you take, depending on you run Coagulate or not, you roughly take 10% damage. So yeah, that's that. But he needs to be awakened, and he needs deep wounds maxed out in order to be number 3 on the list. And then number 2 and number 1 are obviously, number 2 is not Kamala Khan. I clicked on it by mistake. Sweden fans must be really happy, but it's Corvus Glaive. If you are running Suicide Masteries, if you have at least one persistent charge, like charge by knocking down a mutant, a tech character, Avenger, or a character who evade or auto blocked, if you have one charge, if you have Suicide Masteries, then his damage output in anything except Labyrinth and Abyss is unrivaled, in my opinion. He makes Lance Quest a joke. He saved me more resources than any other character in a Lance Quest. He is insane for Alliance War also. Like, the entire focus of setting up defense is to not give charges to Corvus early on, and to not give him 4 charges and stuff. So he is insane, like in most situations. In Alliance 4, Alliance Quest Act 6, if we are talking about 6.4, the health pool is slightly big for him to handle in first set of charges, but you can have a 6-star rank 3 Corvus, and I think 6-star rank 3 Corvus is one of the hardest hitting, like one of the best 6-star rank 3s to have in the game. Like, if I get any 6-star character and I could rank 3 and awaken them, I would not pick Doctor Doom. I would probably pick Corvus Glaive. And he is like really fun to play, in my opinion. A lot of people don't like his playstyle. I really like the big SP2s, the power drain on them and stuff, but in my opinion, he is definitely the number 2 highest damage character in the game. You need him, like he scales up amazingly. You need him as a 565 at least, ideally at a rank 3 6-star, if you're considering the second spot in the entire game. Because as a 4-star, even with Suicide Masteries, because you can not get fights down in the first set of charges unless you're playing like Act 4, and that really hurts him. But even if you have a 5-star one, you put cosmic boosts on and stuff, you can get through a lot of stuff. And he is, if you don't have an Aegon, then he is the second best in Abyss when it comes to the Abyss Final Collector. He is great for a lot of fights in there, actually. Killmonger, Massacre, I bet he is great for another fight I'm forgetting, but like he is really used by a lot of characters in Abyss as well, which shows how good this character actually is. So that is why he is at number 2. And then number 1 is number 1 character in the game, in my opinion. No, it's not quick. When we talk about damage and damage alone, I think Ghost is the best character in the game. If you are running Suicide Masteries, and like ideally have synergies as well, although she doesn't need it against a lot of matchups, like against a lot of global nodes as well. She gets insane benefits like a back blast in Act 6.2. There is like the Omega Red one chapter also gives her something like a lot of furies. Basically, she's great for biohazard, caltrops, a lot of nodes that put debuffs on you. She's immune to literally all the debuffs in the game, and you can charge heavy attacks for more furies and cruelties. Like her damage output as a 6-star rank 3 is broken. Her damage output as a 565 is also insane. Like for Act 6, I think she's the best character in the game. Only one comes close is Quake, but damage wise I think she's the best, and like I'd give her 10 out of 10, and that is the reason she is at number 1. Ideally, again, you want to run Suicide Mastery, you want to run her synergies, you want to be good at playing her. She is one of those characters who requires some skill to master, who requires some practice to master, but once you have mastered her, once you've unlocked Suicide, once you put her with the right synergy team, I think her damage output overall, in like she can do everything in this game. She can do Alliance Quest, she can do Alliance War, she can do Labyrinth, she can do Abyss. Not like she's not great for Abyss, but she's great for a lot of fights in there, and she can do anything, and she is great at everything. That is why she is at number 1 in this list. And I would like to say that again, there are a lot of characters in this list who have good damage output, like Void. After we put Fear of the Void, has good damage output. Captain America Infinity War with SP2 crits, great damage output. If Mysterio after SP3, pretty comparable to Namor actually. Then Medusa has some decent damage output. Gwenpool do some decent damage. Havoc with his SP3 has decent damage. Thing wouldn't be on this list with his synergies. If you are running Thing with synergies, then he is the best damage character in this game, in my opinion. Unrivaled. He's so much better than everyone else if you can run him with synergies, and if like there is not a rage node or a heal block node and stuff. Then Human Torch, great against Mystics, and I think Magneto is going to be a character who would probably make in the top 10 damage characters after he gets his buff. Symbiote Supreme against characters who have a lot of buffs is a top 10 damage character in my opinion. Morningstar with 5 persistent charges is a great damage output character. Stark and Spider-Man with 10 poise charges is a great damage output character. Star-Lord wants to build his combo, great damage output character. Hulkbuster, same thing goes for him. If you are skilled with him, he has a slightly different playstyle, great damage output character. So a lot of characters who I can see being in the top 10, but this was my list, and if you disagree, again, leave it down in the comment section. We can discuss it there. I could have missed someone on the list. It could be really possible. We have so many characters in the game. And that's gonna do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Subscribe to the channel for more content and stay safe. Bye bye.